Hey y'all, so today is going to be a little intimate talky talk. I wrote a couple pages down while doing some of my quantum physics research last night, and I figured before I can start talking about my theory, I first kind of have to explain the world and how I view it. Through the help of this book called The Unobstructed Universe, which is a true story by a man named Stewart Edward White. Stewart Edward White had a wife named Elizabeth, Betty. Betty, in her living state, was a psychic. She was a medium, and she would go into trance-like meditative states and astral project herself, and she would learn about the world. Now, Stewart Edward White, her husband, wrote books about her travels in a book called The Betty Book. They seem as just a story, but this is all true. Fast forward, Betty passes away. She dies. And a couple months later, we get this book called The Unobstructed Universe. Her husband gets in contact with a woman named Joan, who is a psychic medium, and she channels his late wife, Betty. And Betty, through a series of 40 sessions, speaks about her new reality and how it works. Now, this book was made back in 1946, and so a lot of things were starting to come up. It was like the industrial age, and one of the newest things that was around in that time were radio waves. And so now, as I read the book here in 2021, there are some things spoken about which I now know to be true and understand correctly, because now we have modern day science. So it is through this book and the use of its scientific vocab words and my own research through trance-like meditative states and psychedelic used for educational purposes that I believe this description of the world to be true. There is this place called Orhtos. It's deriving from a Greek word meaning true. So Orthos means the true essence of the universe. So Orthos is the plane of existence where we go to when we die from this material world. Now, this also is the place where we sort of dip into in our dreams through meditation and through the use of psychedelics. We all can definitely say that this is a place that is completely arbitrary and sort of follows the weird like structure of quantum mechanics. Now, I feel it is my job, by being interested in this stuff, so interested that it doesn't seem like work, it's just fun for me, by using my life and combining the knowledge of science and the spiritual realm. I am sort of developing a theory to where I am going to get to a point where I can combine quantum mechanics and classical physics by bridging the gap through the use of explaining how and why consciousness works to create the reality that we see for ourselves through thought, intention, all of that stuff. But like I said, to begin to explain that, I have to explain Orthos and how it works. So, I don't know, sit down, relax, and listen to what I say. I'm just going to be reading from the book. These are my words. I literally wrote them not even 8 hours ago. So. Imagine dying, but imagine the same world now massless. Matter no longer exists as an obstruction to you. You have now vibrated at such high of a frequency you surpass the need for a material world. You have now entered into a state where time, space, and motion now operate as their true selves: receptivity, conductivity, and frequency. For now, we won't get into the science of it all, but when I speak of Orthos, just imagine a world coexisting with yours. A past loved one can be sitting right next to you, and you wouldn't know it because your awareness mechanism is in that moment is not attuned to the higher frequency of them. If it were, you would register them, and in that case, you'd be able to see them, know about them, hear them, etc. Our species cannot deny the fact that we are in evolution. By that, I mean, if you look back to the early human civilization, you see that we've changed so much. We begin to learn more things. Now we are at a point where we need to stop building in a material way, but start building in a way where we raise our vibrations so that all of humanity vibrates at a high enough frequency so that we can connect with our true selves, which is consciousness. Consciousness is an evolution. What consciousness did is break itself down into different form attributes so that it could better understand itself. One of the form attributes is earth consciousness. As a human being, we are broken down to better understand feeling, emotion, and all of that. But we get so caught up in the material world, we've kind of lost sight of the goal. And it's time to start coming back to that. What exactly is the point of life, is what I wrote. A look into Orhtos gives us sufficient amount of information from 1940s that when we read it now, we are able to paint so lively of a picture it's almost chilling. This book that I read and these ideas that I now have ingrained inside of my brain and now believe because I have experienced them for myself through meditation, it's almost crazy that the world has been hidden from this part of itself. Now, I feel as though I can talk all day about Orhtos, but until I can give you a good enough visualization, you might not get it. So I created this little clip to sort of explain how we coexist. One part of me, the part that looks like this, is going to represent the material world, the world that we are in right now, the world of life. Myself in a different piece of clothing will represent ancestors, angels, everything vibrating at a higher frequency yet still coexisting. The only thing that I cannot act out for you is a massless world. So imagine the other me being able to walk through anything. Nothing is obstructed. I'm able to see anything and everything. Time, it's 333 right now. Time, even here in this plane of existence, is an obstruction. We are obstructed by a 24-hour day. We are obstructed by the air. We are obstructed by everything, literally everything. And so I really just want you to picture a ghost-like world where ghosts just transparent, able to just go through everything. Okay? This is exciting. I don't know. I hope this makes sense to y'all. I know you're always like, this makes sense, but in the moment, I'm always like, I can't believe I'm talking about this. But it's true, it's exciting, and I want more people to know about it. So enjoy the clip. So I want you to think about this. The universe is very uniform. The universe is an entire math problem, essentially. Classical physics explains our world very well, our material world, the world made up of matter, very well. The problem that they're dealing with is that quantum mechanics doesn't match up with what we've created in classical physics. Quantum mechanics is very, like I said, arbitrary. It does what it wants. You can't really measure it. And when you do measure it, it follows the laws of classical physics. Now, what the hell? Yeah, that's what all the scientists ask. Except, here we go. If time, space, and motion, if I was given these vocabulary words, time, space, and motion, to describe the material world, the obstructed universe, then receptivity, conductivity, and frequency should be the trilogy of operation in Orhtos, which would be the uniformity that the entire universe follows. The background, I believe it's like some type of background radiation, I'm not quite sure, but in some of my studies, this is what gives us the evidence that the universe is very uniform. The universe it's not willy-nilly, as some people think that quantum mechanics is. However, when you put consciousness, when you add a different element into science, you're able to be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Now, let me just smoothen it out for a little bit. I'm not going to get into the science of this video. I just kind of wanted to explain Orhtos. In the next video, we'll get more into that. I got something in my tooth. Okay. I'm going to try to make this so simple. You know how we, as human beings, create cars so that we can better move ourselves through space and time? We shorten time by shortening our time spent crossing a distance, okay? We controlled time. We didn't change time because we're still restricted, but we controlled ourselves a little bit better. Back then, they were just creating automobiles. Back then, to get from California to New York, you could only, let's say, walk. Now we've created cars, we've created bikes, we've figured out a way to shorten the distance by shortening the time spent. We're figuring out ways to better conduct ourselves, to receive ourselves better in time. Actually, no. Yeah, we're figuring out a way to better conduct ourselves so that we can register ourselves faster at a point in time. The frequencies, are taking ourselves, arresting frequencies, because everything here in this plane of existence is at the will of us. Man, woman, theys, we are all the highest form of consciousness. Everything in this world, this is matter. My cup is a type of consciousness embodying itself as a cup, in the form attribute of a cup, at a lower degree to the point where it is at my will. And that's kind of what these people in Orhtos are doing. They are taking frequencies, different frequencies, and bending it to their will, bringing themselves into time, registering themselves into time through receptivity by conducting themselves as frequency into a point in time, which would be us, which would be our plane of existence. They're doing that themselves. God, I hope that it only doesn't make full sense right now, but I feel like I have to go in baby steps, so at least you kind of sort of understand this other world. And yeah, I'll go into consciousness and what it's doing in another video that is going to be about qualitative and quantitative consciousness, and I'm going to bring in astrological facts. Not like all of them. I don't claim to be an astrologer. I don't really study astrology like that, but understanding my birth chart, myself and like my close friends, help me to understand the degrees of consciousness, the evolution of consciousness, and qualitative and quantitative consciousness. For today, this is all I have for the video. If you follow my TikTok, it really is just a repeat, but you know, now we have a good beginning. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.
Hey, listen. Lonely. Not when you